Hi, my name is Zui Dao. I'm a designer, I'm a creative director. Some of you don't know me at all, but I'm the first Vietnamese to nominate for this. I also collaborate with some of the best brands in the world, and from global to local brand at the same time. So usually, someone of my occupation will come here and do this kind of talk. They will do this thing called playing my greatest hits, which is going through my portfolio, showing my work, talk about it. We're not going to do that today. Also, they want to do some design nerd stuff, which is saying this kind of thing is a tittle. The dots on the little eye, it's called tittle. It's a funny name. I'm not going to do that today. Instead, we're going to talk about something so personal that shaped my way of thinking as a designer and a human. And to do that, we have to go back, way back in time. This is me, about 8 years old. And this is my childhood idol, an icon. For some you don't know, or some you live in a cave, this is Doraemon, a futuristic cat in the future. He's blue, he doesn't have ears. What's so special about him is that he has this little thing called the fourth dimensional pocket. And in here, he stores what he called magic invention from the future. And there's all kind of invention. There's this doll that can go anywhere. There's this thing that makes you fly. There's this bread that makes you remember things. There's this thing that duplicates stuff. And there's this crazy scissor that can cut your shadow. The diversity of this invention and creativity is insane. And what's so special about him is that he used all of these inventions for his main purpose, which is to help people. And mainly his best friend, Nobita. And I was a kid, right? I identified with this guy because I kind of look like him in some way. And a lot of my problem is kind of the same with him, right? Nobita has the same set of problems all the time. Having trouble with friends, right? Having trouble with parents, having trouble with, just random things, right? Having bad grades, just normal kid stuff. And here we have data to back it up, right? There's like the same stuff all the time. But every time that problem or brief occurs, there's a new magic invention that kind of solve the problem, bring on a new journey. There's a lot of it. They're so fun. And what's so special about it is each invention kind of leads to another genre in the story. So there's sci-fi, there's adventure, there is romance, there is even comedy. It's kind of cheesy, but still funny. Even there's dramas, it's like very sentimental stuff. When I was a kid, I thought this is a normal relationship, but then, I thought to myself, using tools and invention to solve problem and tell story in a kind of diverse and creative way, this is not a normal relationship anymore. This is a client and a creative. This is a brief and a designer. This is project and studio. This is very similar. And this is live stuff and me. I thought I was this guy having my problem solved. So now I was this guy solving people problem, which is, as a creative, as a designer, solving problem is kind of like puzzle. It's kind of like my thing. So let's get serious, right? Doraemon is a designer. How do you think about it? And there's a lot of similarity, which lead me to this quote. It's kind of a Bible for people in my occupation. The role of a good designer is similar to a very good, thoughtful host, anticipating the needs of its guests. And that's from Charles Eames, who is a legendary architect and designer. Keyword, anticipating. So you think about it, Doraemon has to buy all this invention, meaning that he anticipates the future problem. He curated what he stored in his pocket, meaning that, he developed his style and taste. And he knows exactly what to use every time. when a problem occurs, meaning that he already trained and mastered all his tool and skill. But you might think it might be insane if I base my whole model based on a cartoon character is not real, and there's no real magic invention in real life. So how do you merge this gap between an idea to an existence? How do you bring what inside your head to outside in the world? This is what I call personal. I call them the personals. They are tools, taste, standard, passion, anything that is yours. And I believe that the process of curating, inventing, learning all these personal tools and passion is also the process of merging oneself with the universal world. Which leads me to today's talk, Design from Within, from connecting personal passion to universal connection. All right, I'm gonna run by a few tools that I use a lot, and some of the tools that you already have it, you don't know it, but let's follow along, right? The first personal pursuit. This is kind of, who knows this? If you're a designer, you should know this. Okay, this is a very important design piece by the legendary Bruno Munari. What he's saying is that there is countless, unlimited way of drawing the same topic, universal topic, a face. And that's kind of like change people's perspective about design and creative in a way. And I start to notice this thing in real life. This is a t-shirt I like the material, I like the design, I like the price, it's cheap, it's easy to wear. But there is also all the white t-shirt in the world. Each brand, each designer, the fashion designer have their own way of thinking. Oh, this is my way of doing a t-shirt, and I believe in it. And I start to notice there's so many similar patterns in life about personal pursuit. This is the restaurant that I eat a lot, pho, right? You guys all have it. And this is where when I go to, I like the flavor, I like the material. And this is just a few of them in the same radius in Hanoi. Each of the restaurant here has its own chef, its own owner, where they believe that their bowl pho is the best one in the city. And that's their own personal pursuit that contributes to the diversity of the universal world. And if you think about it, in every restaurant, every customer has their own way of ordering their food. There's the one that have more onion, there's the one that have red meat. All of that is a personal pursuit to the universal topic, universal world. Let's get to my field. Who knows this typeface? Some of you know, designer know. It's a legendary typeface because it's the father of this one, the most famous typeface in the world. And also this one. And there is a bunch of them. I designed the last one. But to a naked eye, this seems similar. But to me, and a lot of designer, typeface designer, all of this has its own characteristic. There's tiny little change. Or like, for example, the San Francisco stand is the Apple typeface, which is in your area of your iPhone. There's this quote by one of the best typeface designer in the world, Chris Sorby of Clean Type. He said that if the primary problem of designing a typeface is to be readable, legible, then that problem has been solved thousands of times, almost every week. And to think that we have solved the alphabet is the wrong way of thinking about it. Because if we think like that, chef doesn't worry about it, artist doesn't worry about it, musician doesn't worry about it, because the problem has been solved. We should just embrace the poor aesthetic of nature of our work. And I believe that that's personal pursuit. The secret to unlocking boundless universal possibility is through curiosity and passion for everyday personal pursuit. That's one, right? We go through 1, 2 already. Let's go to the next one. After that, you have to believe in your thing. Whatever you create, you have to believe in it. Who knows this one? Raise your hand. All right? Pretty universal, right? People raising their hand. This is Abbey Road by the Beatles, designed by the famous art director Koch. This is already very universal. This is very well known already. But today I'm going to talk about something that's even more universal and more famous than this. that probably the most important graphic design piece in the world to this day, to this 21st century, is this thing. Familiar? You guys all have used this in a sense. It's called the zebra cross. That is designed by this guy, Dr. George Charles Wood and his team from Britain. Well, he was not the first one, because in Pompeii, ancient Rome, there's already this crosswalk. There's this one in Detroit in America. You can barely see it because the line is so fainted. It doesn't really work because accidents still happen. There's this one in England where it's just a tiny piece of metal that's kind of blending with the road. So the problem is clear. There's still a lot of accidents happen. And even, people were so desperate. They thought that in the future, people would just jump across the street to avoid accident. Comes the zebra crossing. So easy to install. It's black and white, high contrast. It's just a magnificent invention in the graphic design. But at first, people was kind of, skeptical. People didn't believe it. So he literally, went to every intersection, persuade people to use it. He went to all the organization and council, city council, to persuade that he believed in this thing so much. And the rest is history. People start using it. There's so many variations of it right now, and it became a universal design, graphic design thing in the world right now. That, so many people start using it to almost the extent that it's invisible now. So your personal belief is meaning trust yourself, trust what you have create, trust what you and your team have to create. And you have to go 100% with it. I put this here because it doesn't really work in Vietnam in a way. Even if it's universal design, it doesn't really work. We might have to come up with a new way. Anyways, personal experience. This one might ring a lot of bells to a lot of people because you all have it. Let's play a game. Who knows this guy? I'll give you a present if you know this guy. You probably don't know. I'll give you his name. John Hudson. He's one of the most pioneer in the world. He creates something that is so iconic and so groundbreaking that you will immediately recognize it. So I'll give you a few clues. As a kid, this is what he loved. He loved boats. He loved it so much, he lived by the ocean. His family lived by the ocean. He went sailing a lot. He traveled a lot by the ocean. Even his father was a shipbuilder. And so this is some of the clues. You probably still don't know what he's designed yet. It's so iconic, you'll be surprised. Okay, I'll give you another clue. This is his sketch. Look a little bit more familiar now. So a design, look like art piece, look like shelf, look like, wind, things of that nature. More familiar now? Yes, he designed this. So iconic. And all of that is based on his personal interest, personal experience about, his sailing, lived by the ocean, loved boats and stuff like that. And that translates across a lot of his idea as well. A lot of the famous building that he designed is very similar to the ocean. A lot of the personality and the characteristic is come from his personal interest and personal experience. It's very him, in a way. You immediately recognize it. Oh, this, Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling. Almost all the character and the storyline is based on her own experience. Like Harry Potter is based on her childhood neighbor. Snape is from her experience with, chemistry teacher. Or even this one, manga, one of the most famous one, One Piece. The inspiration behind it is from the author's favorite, hobbies, which is travel, adventure, pirates. And he already drew a sketch of this manga when he was a kid in secondary school. So just bring that up, Creativity is just connecting things, like Steve Jobs. This is a very important quote. And another way to say it is that, the most personal is the most creative, which is a quote stating from Bong Joon-ho. This quote is from Martin Scorsese, but Bong Joon-ho said it during his Oscar acceptance speech. After all that, personal standard. This one is key. When I was starting out, this is the word that put a lot of fear in me. It's not scary enough, let me make this bigger. Okay, amateur. Why scary? Because, as you are starting out, you're afraid to be called amateur in a way. Because the English definition of it is someone who is incompetent at something. Being called incompetent is kind of like an insult in a way. But if you think about it, the word amateur is from the Latin word amator. I think that's what they said. And it's so beautiful, the definition of it is someone that will do something for the love of it, not for money, fame, or anything. But it's hard when you start out and you not be called amateur because the first thing that you made might not be good. And then I stumbled across this quote that changed my perspective, changed my way of thinking as a designer. From Miles Davis, a jazz musician, one of the most iconic musicians of this century. He said, you have to play a really long time to be able to play like yourself. I asked myself, train to be myself. That's I'm me already. Why do I have to train to be me? Because, the you currently is not similar to yourself, your vision, your taste. And, this is something I read. When we first start out, a lot of us who went into this field of, creating things, whatever you do, you write poems, you make food, you design things like me. We start doing our occupation because we have good taste. We think that our taste is good, our standard is good. But for the first couple of years, the stuff that you make is not that good because, it's trying to be good, it has ambition to be good, but it's not good. You know it because your taste is still good. And a lot of people quit. They never get past this phase. They quit because they think they're not good enough. The only solution for this is that you have to do a lot of work. You have to love what you do a lot of work, and close this gap. This is the only way to close the gap between what you're doing right now, and your vision, what you want to do. And this is the only way to do that. Okay, I'll give you an example. Not in creative. Kobe, rest in peace. Kobe, one of the most successful career in sport. But little did you know that in 1997, at a crucial moment, when he first started out, at a crucial moment, the team was down. He needed to hit this shot, enable for the team to advance, or else they go home. In his head, at this moment, he knows that he's going to make it. He wants to make it. That's why he took the shot. He knows that he wants to make it, and they win the match, and they go on to the next round of the tournament. But what did he do? He missed. He missed so much. He missed by a margin. And the next thing you know, the other team is laughing at him. Newspaper call him a failure. To make matters worse, he missed the last 4 shots. Not only just one, he missed all 4 of them. But then he worked so hard. He went back home, trained almost every day to the point that no one can catch up to him. Because he wants to close that gap between him that's failing with the one that he, in his head, is making the shot. In his total career, he missed 14,000 out of 30,000. It's like 1 shot missed every 2 shot made. He closed that gap, became known for being so clutch. Meaning that he always score at the last moment that, win the game, and went on to win 5 championships. So he closed the gap. Love what you do, work hard, so your work can match your ambition and personal standard. All right, last one, personal perspective. Keeping things in perspective is very important. How are you design a chair? Do you think about the color? Or do you think about the material? Or do you think about the form, or maybe the style? They are all valid questions. They are all correct questions. But they are not enough because all of this is an inward question. What you should think about as your personal perspective, as a creator, whatever you do, is thinking outward. What is the outward question? Going from micro to macro. And what is the macro question? What is the thing that you should ask yourself when you're creating something? And there's this quote that changed my perspective as a designer and a creator. Always design a thing considering its next larger context. If you design a chair, imagine a chair in a room. If you design a room, imagine a room in a house. If you design a house, how a house look in an environment. And if you design an environment, how does the environment look in the whole city plan? And that quote is from one of the influential architecture, Elio Saarinen. Perspective, right? One of the examples is this chair. You've probably seen it everywhere. It's called the Im chair, designed by this couple. It's so iconic, so simple, yet so iconic because it can fit into almost any scenario. Indoors, with people, with kids, with adults, in your office, in your house, outside in the garden, it still conveys the same aesthetic messages. Or something that I did. Okay, I designed this, by the way. I'm not gonna talk about the whole project because it's gonna take a lot of speech to do that. But what I'm gonna talk about is that one of the key decisions in design that we developed during this project. And one of the design decisions was where to put the logo in a box, right? There's a big one sideways, there's the one in the middle, there's one on top, there's the one is on the, it's rotated in a little bit. Each of them has its own pros and cons and aesthetic charms about it. And I thought about, what's the key priority of this project is that when a rebrand happens, you're introducing a new element, which is the logo, newer to the one that people has been so familiar with for half a century. You have to keep the priority is transitioning the audience to the new logo. You have to think about where the logo appear most, and from there you design backward to where you want to put the logo. So there's 3 cases: on the shelf, in your bags, and in your hand. And that's what we end up with, is on top of it. I want you guys to focus on the logo, right? Watch this. So on the shelf, right, when things are covering, you can still see the logo all the time. Even in the bags of your kids and things of that nature, you can still see it. And even when you hold it, the logo is always there. It's unintentionally psychological. It's like a psychic thing that makes people remember the new logo. So every idea, I believe that every idea has 2 lives, the one in your head and the one outside in the world. And having personal perspective make both of them equally impactful. All right, we made it. These are just some of my personal tools, similar to Doraemon and his toolbox. But there might be a lot more. You might have your own thing, and there might be a lot more personals. And the key is to, if life keeps giving you the same brief all the time, it's the same thing, remember that you have your own diverse set of magical invention that you yourself already has it. You just don't know yet. So remember, next time before you create anything, design anything, cook anything, build anything for anyone, do it for yourself first. Because at the end of the day, all the best and most universal thing in life are also yours. They are all personal. Thank you.